Welcome to U3L5 standard form. So the standard form of a linear equation is ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are just numbers. Now there's two other forms of lines that we have practiced this year, and those are slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, and point-slope form, y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1, okay? Now, this form, unlike the other two, is virtually useless the way that it's written, okay? The other forms offer you lots of useful information, right? They both offer you a slope, and then slope-intercept form also gives you a y-intercept, where point-slope form gives you this coordinate xy, okay? But with standard form, the way it's written, we can't really do anything. So one option in order to be able to analyze or graph this line is, one thing we can do is to convert it to slope-intercept form first. Okay, so that is the method that I'm going to show you in these notes. And then we will bring in the geometric concepts as well in the last couple examples. So we're going to first move ax, the whole term, to the other side of the equation where c is. So if we want it to look like a useful form of a line, we're going to convert it to slope-intercept form, meaning y needs to be isolated. And to get the y isolated, we first have to move this ax term to the other side. Once we do that, we cannot combine ax and c because they are not like terms. So we just rewrite them. Then we divide by b, the coefficient of y. We're going to divide every term, so that's 3 divisions. Now, here's the thing. When I say divide, I really mean simplify or divide. It just depends on what you have. So step 3 is going to be to simplify, which includes dividing if we can, but if we cannot divide to a whole number, then we simplify the fractions. All right, so for example 1, for each of the standard form equations, rearrange them into y equals mx plus b form and identify the slope and y-intercept. Okay, looking at part A, we want to first move our ax term. So that is 2x in this case. It's a positive. If I want to move that to the other side, I've got to subtract the 2x term on both sides. Then I bring down my positive 5y term equals, and then we want to rewrite this. But again, our goal, right, is to get our form rearranged into slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. So we want the mx term first. That means that we want to write this negative 2x term first, and then we'll put the minus 20 after it. So we're going to put the negative 2x term first, then we're going to put the minus 20 afterwards. Now we can divide all 3 terms by 5, and we'll end up with y equals negative 2 over 5, which cannot simplify or divide, so we'll get negative 2/5 x, and then minus 20 divided by 5, which is 4. Perfect. Identify slope and y-intercept. So m, which is the slope, is negative 2/5, and the y-intercept, which is b, is negative 4. All right, let's do this again. We're actually going to go to part C, and then I'm going to have you guys pause the video and try B and D. Okay, so for C, we're going to do the exact same thing we just did on A. Okay, so we're going to first move our negative 7x term. Well, if it's negative right now, we want to add it in order to move it to the other side because we want it to cancel. And negative 7 plus 7 is 0. Bring down your negative y equals, and then again, write down your positive 7x, and then you can bring your positive 13 down. Now, negative y is basically the same as negative 1y, so divide every term by negative 1, which virtually just changes the signs of your terms. So y equals negative 7x minus 13. M will then be negative 7, B will be negative 13. All right, I would recommend pausing the video, try B and D, and then you can unpause the video and make sure that you are correct. Okay, so for B, we are going to add 3x to both sides because it's negative. Bring down our 6y equals our positive 3x plus 60. Then we can divide everything by 6, which is the b, the coefficient of y. We are then going to get y equals 3 over 6, which will not divide to a whole number and in fact can simplify, right? If I divide out the 3 that they have in common, then I'll have 1 over 2x plus 60 divided by 6, which is 10. My slope m is now 1/2, and my y-intercept is positive 10. Last but not least, let's look at part D. So we're subtracting 8x first because right now it's positive. Bring down your negative 2y, don't forget the negative sign, equals negative 8x minus 22. Divide everything by that negative 2, negative 2. That leaves us with, excuse me, y equals negative 8 divided by negative 2 is positive 4x. And then negative divided by negative is also positive 11. M is going to be 4 and B is going to be positive 11. Awesome. Okay, so now let's take a look at example 2. Example 2 tells us to graph the following lines on the provided grid by first converting them to slope-intercept form. So first thing we're going to do here is convert to slope-intercept form. So right now we have a 1x plus 3y equals 12. I'm going to subtract 1x on both sides first. That's going to give me 3y equals negative 1x plus 12 since it's positive. Then we're going to divide by 3 times, leaving us with y equals negative 1/3 x plus 4. So our m is going to be negative 1/3. Treat the negative as it's in the numerator. That's my advice because you can only use that negative movement once. So that would be down and to the right. And then the positive 4 is the b where we begin. So begin on positive 4 on the y-axis. Move down 1 and right 3. Do that again. And reverse your direction as well. So go up 1 and left 3 and up 1 and left 3. And then once you have all your points, use a straight edge and you can draw this line with arrows. So that is the line for part A. Now for part B, we want to graph this one as well, right? So first things first, subtract 3x on both sides. You end up with negative y equals negative 3x minus 1. Negative y is, of course, negative 1y, so we're going to divide everything by negative 1, just basically changing all the signs. So y is going to be positive 3x plus 1. So when we graph this, our slope is 3/1 positive, so up and right. And then our beginning point, our y-intercept is positive 1, so 0, 1 on the y-axis. Start at 0, 1. And then use a slope of 3/1. So up 3, right 1. I can only do that once before I run out of room. So let's reverse it. And let's go down 3 and left 1. Go down 3 and left 1. Perfect. Now, I'm going to draw my line with arrows. And then it says, what do you notice about the two lines? Well, we can see visually that they intersect. And if you drew your lines precisely, if you use a straight edge, you can probably even see that they intersect at right angles. Okay, so what that tells us is that they're perpendicular. But regardless of how good your graph is, right, how good your lines are graphed, what you can see if you look at your two equations is that the slopes are opposite reciprocals. So yes, in fact, we can verify that these are in fact perpendicular lines. Okay, last but not least, we have two more examples that are more of analysis type questions. The geometry concepts are involved in here, and then we'll be done with these notes. So what is the slope of a line parallel to negative 3x plus 4y equals 11? So slope of a line parallel. So we're looking for the slope of a line that is parallel to the original line given. Slope of parallel lines is based on the fact that they have the same slope, right? So for two lines to be parallel, they're going to have the same slope. So in order to find the slope that we're looking for, we just need to find the slope of the original line. Well, we can't do anything the way it's written right now. It's written in standard form. But what we can do is rearrange it into slope-intercept form like we have been doing, and then we'll be able to see the m, and we'll be able to take that slope, and it'll be the same here for this parallel line. Okay, so we'll add 3x to both sides first. We will bring down our 4y equals 3x plus 11, and then divide everything by 4. Y is then 3/4 x. And that's all, the only part we really need, but you can go ahead and keep going if you want. Since 11 doesn't divide by 4 evenly and it doesn't simplify, you'll leave it as 11/4. But the only part we really care about is the slope, because parallel means they have the same slope. So the slope of this parallel line is going to be 3/4, just like the slope of the original line is. Okay, last but not least, let's take a look at number 4. which of the following lines is perpendicular to negative x minus 7y equals negative 21? So we already know what we're looking for. We're looking for which of the lines is the correct line, right? A, B, C, or D. But the way we're going to figure that out is by taking into account what perpendicular means. Perpendicular means, let me write it down here, that the slopes are opposite reciprocals or negative reciprocals. Some people say negative reciprocals. Either way, it means that the signs are opposite, right? One is positive, one's negative, and then one is the reciprocal of the other. So the fraction itself is flipped, okay? So we can't see what the slope of the original line is the way it's written. We have to solve for y. And then we can find what the opposite reciprocal slope would be so we can choose the correct line. And the only thing that we need to look at is going to be the slopes themselves. So 1/7, -7, -1/7, or +7. Okay, we don't care about these y-intercepts. They don't matter in terms of perpendicular. Okay, so we're going to add x to both sides first. We're going to have -7y equals +x. I'll put 1x minus 21. Divide everything by -7. And y equals -1/7 x plus 3. Remember, the only thing we care about is the slope because that's the part that we need to use in order to determine what perpendicular would be. The perpendicular slope to this would be the opposite reciprocal. So if I start with -1/7, it wouldn't be negative, it would be positive. And instead of 1/7, it would be 7/1. Well, +7/1 is the same as +7. So our choice here is going to be choice D. Don't let it trick you. Don't forget to go back and reread the problem if you need to, right? Don't accidentally choose B because it's the same slope, okay? So definitely choice D is the answer. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.